Time now. What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my good friend Brian over there talk about comic book movies and streaming shows. Brian, do you know what number Marvel movie Captain America Brave New World is?
I do. 35.
It's fucking crazy, right?
It is crazy. It's 35
Yes.
movies. I like imagine reading comic books as your like 12-year-old self and thinking like, wow, this would be awesome as a movie. And then, someone telling you someday there's going to be 35 of these. There's more because, this all the X-Men movies and DC and all this other shit. But it's just like, I wouldn't believe it.
No. Yeah, it's so weird how we kind of crossed over into this new age where the idea of like, oh my God, there's going to be a movie that like Captain America is in it and he's cool. And then we go through three of those. Now we have a replacement Captain America, a character who probably most people don't even know about up until these movies.
Yeah, and I think I said this comment when we first heard about this movie or the trailer at one of those DC conventions or whatever. I mean, Disney conventions.
Right.
I really think this is the first ever legacy hero superhero movie. I don't think any other superhero movie has ever passed the torch to another character before.
That's an interesting observation. I can think of some example. Go ahead.
It happens so often in comics. These characters pass on their mantles and whatnot, but we've never seen it in live action. I think that makes this an incredibly important movie. It did okay in the box office. I think it didn't blow things away, but everyone, it's cool to hate on these things now. So
yeah. Well, I like some examples I can think of. Right, are there's Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises, and I don't think that really counts for what you're saying because he essentially just takes on the mantle at the very end, and you don't even see him as Batman.
Yeah, no. This is and that would also wouldn't count because it's still a Batman movie. Yeah, Batman is in the movie.
Right.
Steve Rogers is not in this movie.
Right. He's not at all. Yeah. And then there's other movies like The Mask of Zorro, but maybe Zorro doesn't count as a superhero. And we don't see Anthony Hopkins Zorro in a full movie before it. And then there's also The Shadow. Those are movies where there's a mantle that's passed down, but not for mainstream superheroes that we all kind of know about.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think that's a really cool fact to point out.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad that people hate on this movie because I wasn't super excited by it, and there wasn't anything that really happened in it where I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were going to do this. This is exciting. There wasn't anything like that, but I also didn't actively dislike it.
Yeah, the movie was fine. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I still don't think. I still will say I don't really think there's a bad Marvel movie, a terrible one. I think they're all. Some of them are subpar, maybe, and this is fine. It's a mediocre movie. It's somewhere in the middle.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
I didn't hate Thor: Love and Thunder.
Quantumania.
I didn't hate Quantumania.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Well, God bless you. Disney needs more people like you. Did you actually rank the movies and include this?
No, I didn't do any rankings yet. I have no idea where I would rank. It wouldn't be too high, but it wouldn't be all that low either.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a weird movie because it says it's a Captain America movie, but it feels more like a Hulk movie,
Mm-hmm.
So really, the homework you have to do for this movie is you have to watch. I guess you have to watch Eternals.
Yeah.
Which I actually caught on TV, not earlier this year.
Yeah.
It's funny because there were so many commercials, and then I'm like, how is this movie still on? It literally was on for almost 4 hours.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, probably on FX or something, right?
Yeah, it was FX. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They just throw so many commercials. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you had to watch Eternals, which most people probably forgot if they even saw it in the first place, and then The Incredible Hulk, which came out. I can't do math.
17
years ago.
2008. Yeah.
16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And then also, it's sort of a pseudo sequel to Captain America, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, but there's less connectivity there,
No.
I think, than there is with those other two movies.
Yeah. When you watch all these YouTube speculation videos, which go pretty much from the announcement of the movie all the way to the release of the movie. So we're talking like at least a year, if not more. Everyone starts to do what we do, where they fantasy book and they're like, oh, Steve Rogers is going to come back and this is an old man and we're going to find out what's going on with Steve Rogers and all this other shit. And then you get the product and you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't have all these exciting things I was talking about. It does make you visualize these things that you've only seen in comics. Like we do see the Red Hulk, which is an exciting thing. But I feel like sometimes the context in which they insert these things in, it kind of feels like when someone smuggles something into a prison. Like I saw this movie or this show.
I completely understand what you mean. It's something so mediocre, but it's like in prison, this is amazing.
Yes. But it's like the way that it's smuggled in though too. Because like I watched this awesome fucking show on Netflix called like Escape from Dannemora, and it had Paul Dano and what's his face, Benicio del Toro. Anyway, like there's a big plot point where they like smuggle in like little blades into a prison for them, and they just put it in chop meat. And I feel like that's what this movie is. It's like it's a Captain America movie. It's about Sam Wilson, but they're really just smuggling in the Hulk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, if you really think about it too, there really has only been 2 Captain America movies. Cap 3, Civil War, that's an Avengers movie. Yeah, it really is. So I think that maybe there just aren't that many Captain America stories that are big enough for a general audience to enjoy, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's a lot of great Cap stories out there. I mean, a lot of them probably have more to do with the Avengers, maybe. But I don't know what else they could have adapted to make another solo Cap movie outside of Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I mean that opens up a whole can of worms, right? Because did you end up watching that Bo DeMeo video that I shared with you or no?
Oh, I didn't watch the whole thing. No, I maybe only got like 5 minutes into it.
I think maybe within the first 5 minutes he talks about it, but he mentions how he got criticism from people at Disney about his X-Men show. And they said that it was like karaoke, where essentially he was like telling the stories from the comics. We need to tell different stories. We need to tell new stories. And I think that's such an interesting talking point because essentially we want to see adaptations. We want to see stories that we know happen in the comics, but we want to see it in a different way in a movie. And there's a lot you could mine with Cap, and there's a lot of villains and stuff they haven't used or focused on, but they kind of like blow their Cap load kind of early. You know, they shove a whole bunch of people into the original one, the first Avenger, right? Because you have like Arnim Zola, Red Skull, Hydra, right? All this kind of stuff.
Howling Commandos.
Yeah, the Howling Commandos, like they shove it all into there. And then Winter Soldier, I mean, like that's probably the most famous modern Cap storyline. But you could do all this kind of crazy shit with like Baron Zemo, and I mean they use Zemo in Civil War too.
Yeah, and Falcon Winter Soldier. So I think that was probably enough. They almost made him more comedic because of that show too, which is weird.
Right.
So I was almost glad they didn't go back to that well, I think. But you know, they did have a little bit more Cap storylines and characters in this movie initially. They did have the Serpent Society, which I'm clarifying is the right one this time. I'm not mixing it up with the Lizard League from Invincible.
Right.
They did have those characters in this movie, and they had particularly they had Diamondback too. Mm-hmm. And who was supposed to play her? I forget. It doesn't matter, but they cut all that out, and they only really left
Giancarlo Ribisi, Sidewinder, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So this movie also like you can definitely tell this movie changed its course significantly with reshoots.
Oh yeah. You bring that up, Giancarlo Ribisi. I feel like one of the scenes that is
I'm laughing because you're saying Ribisi like Giovanni Ribisi, but
Oh.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't mean to be a dick to correct you, but it just sounds really funny that you combine those two names together.
No. Please point it out when I'm fucking doing that. You know? Yeah. I mean, I covered fucking oh god, Arcane with Mike Bongiorno, and I kept calling this one place Zone, right? It's called Zon, right? Like Zon.
Yeah.
You know, and I just did that for the whole fucking recording. So I need someone to correct me when I do that shit. Giancarlo Esposito. You know what's fucking funny, Brian? I slept in his fucking nephew's bed, and I'm fucking up his name.
What?
When I was, I don't know, like 10 years, no, maybe even 13 years younger, I went on a trip to California for a organization called Kids for Peace. This church that I was working at, where I was doing like kind of daycare stuff for them, they got involved with Kids for Peace. They had a retreat in California. Giancarlo Esposito was related to the woman that was running it, and I stayed at her house. She let people stay at her house, and like she let me stay in her son's bed because her son was in college. I look over and there's like a picture frame. It's just like fucking Giancarlo Esposito in the picture frame, you know. And I'm like, holy shit, he's from Breaking Bad. Yeah.
What a completely unexpected bit of information.
Yes. I'm sorry. I had to go on a little tangent there, but I feel like there's this one scene where Cap goes to see him in the jail, and he just kind of gives him some information. And I'm like, why the fuck is this scene even in the movie? It's so weird.
Yeah, because it's like walking around like they're friends now, you know? Like,
yeah. And it's like, where even is he? They're in like some kind of like quarry or something. It's not like in a jail. It's such a weird scene.
Yeah, I think it was like that. Like it was some like training base where some of those soldiers were trained in.
Mm-hmm.
You know the guy with the red beard that gets shot. I think that's where they were holding because they didn't trust the government at the time, so they were holding him on the side.
Yeah. Well, so let's just tell people we're going full spoilers, right?
Yeah.
The guy that you said gets shot, he doesn't really get shot though, right? Isn't it like there's a frequency that makes him have a heart attack?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, he just dies, yeah.
By the leader, right? And they don't even call him the leader in this. They just call him his real name, Samuel Stearns.
Yes.
But let's since we're in spoilers, I want to talk to you about that directly. Weren't you kind of disappointed with the leader's appearance and then also just kind of his role in the movie?
I was very underwhelmed by his presence in the movie. Yes. The appearance didn't bother me. I do realize that having a comic accurate leader was probably not happening.
Right.
You know, a really tall cone head sort of looking thing. I understand that was not going to be an easy sell, but I was very underwhelmed by his presence and role in the movie. I mean, ultimately, he's supposed to be the driving villain here, but it seems like such an afterthought
the
entire time, and really that was the lowest point for the movie for me.
Yeah, I know that there were like advanced screenings or whatever where people could say how they felt about the movie, and that's what led to a lot of the reshoots. And I think a lot of the criticism was about the leader, you know. Okay,
yeah, maybe.
So you never saw Green Lantern though, right? The Ryan Reynolds one?
I have not. And I do realize that they have some, but they, obviously Sinestro has a big forehead there, but
well, there's Sinestro, but then there's also Hector Hammond, who's like a Green Lantern villain with like telepathic powers, and he has a big giant leader kind of head too.
Okay.
Yeah, like Peter Sarsgaard plays him in that movie, and it's just ridiculous. But like when the leader has his grand stroke, his like, crazy moment in the climax of the movie, he just basically turns himself in, and that's it.
Yeah.
He turns so
in, and then the villain sort of shifts to being the Red Hulk on a rampage.
Yeah.
Which was weird. I mean, obviously they set it up that we knew Red Hulk was appearing here in the movie. I think they probably showed a little bit too much in the trailers.
Right.
They really showed basically everything in the trailers, honestly.
Right, exactly.
I really strongly feel, much like with Deadpool and Wolverine, like I knew too much going into this movie.
Right. And there's things that you just kind of know just based on reading comics and from watching movies like this, watching 35 fucking movies like this, you kind of know the story beats. Like when Harrison Ford, President Ross is like, oh, I gotta see these cherry blossoms with my daughter. Like when he says that, you're like, oh, okay, I know that he's gonna calm down when he's in a fucking cherry blossom garden,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they clearly, it's all over the trailers too. So I mean, you knew that showdown was coming there.
Right.
It's very heavy foreshadowing there. Yes.
I think one of the best parts of the movie is probably a part they added, which is like Sam goes to calm him down, like Hulk style, where it's like the sun's getting kind of low or whatever, and it doesn't work at all. And he says, "Oh, I thought that was going to work," or like that shit didn't work.
My favorite line was actually a joke where he says he mocks Bucky for like, yeah, I shouldn't take the super soldier shield, right, Bucky?
Yeah, right. Okay, that was actually a surprise. I didn't know Bucky was going to be in it.
That was added in the reshoots. He was not originally. Originally, Thunderbolts was to come out before this, and things shifted around, so that's why that was added in there.
Okay, so I didn't watch the. What? Go ahead.
By the way, we never really talked about the reviewer you sent about the movie. They talked about why didn't they just make this a Hulk movie? It's a legal thing. Universal still owns the rights to the Hulk, so Marvel cannot make a standalone Hulk movie. So that's why we saw Thor 3 was basically World War Hulk or half of World War Hulk.
Yeah,
Planet Hulk. Sorry,
Planet Hulk. Yeah,
and that's why this movie is so focused on. Kind of being a sequel to Incredible Hulk because they can't do it. They're legally not allowed to do it.
Right. And so they do this thing with Marvel. Like, yes, they've done that with the Hulk where they stick him into things versus giving him his own feature movie. And then I know that they also like take plot points from other comic book characters' stories and then like shove them into things to make it work. And I'm just trying to think of other examples that like kind of fit this. Like I know that Ironheart is coming soon and they're going to have like the Hood be the main guy. And I don't think like Ironheart and the Hood ever tangled before, there's shit like that all the time with Marvel where like they just,
that's a weird villain to put against an Iron Man archetype.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. But that's like this movie as well, where it's like Captain America has a big rogues gallery of different power sets and stuff like that to make like the whole thing be about like the Red Hulk and the leader and stuff. It just feels weird.
Yeah, I really think they were trying to make a sequel to the Winter Soldier, and then they kind of added a little bit too much and it got a little off track.
Yeah, or like a continuation of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't really think there's much connectivity there, other than Sam settling into the role.
Yeah,
and also Joaquin Torres as well.
Actually, Brian, you're forgetting the best fucking part of the movie, in my opinion, which is Isaiah Bradley.
Oh my God, Isaiah Bradley! Holy shit! Yes. Okay, yeah, you got me there.
So fucking good.
Yeah, so good. I'm so disappointed that Eli was not mentioned at all in any capacity.
No, I mean, me too. And we can talk about post-credit scenes too, because I actually didn't even see the post-credit scenes. I just got out of the theater or the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene. But I was going to say to you that my favorite part of the movie was Isaiah Bradley, like his interactions with them. Then, like, the one time that I think I felt like genuine emotion watching the movie was when he got arrested and he says, don't ruin my suit. Leave my suit alone. And he's talking about his suit that he wore to his wedding with his wife.
Yeah, and don't put me back in. I can't go back in.
Right. Genuine.
They got him to come out of his shell. Like he's very distrustful of the government, rightfully so.
Right.
For him to come out to the White House, and then all this bad shit happens.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that was the genuine part of the movie that I liked. I'm assuming that was always there in the movie. Maybe they might have changed some scenes,
Maybe. I think he was always part of the movie, yeah.
Yeah. And so I like that. I liked Falcon, the new Falcon in this, but I did feel like his dialogue was sort of generic and corny.
Yeah, he was comic relief.
Yeah. But not like comic relief where it's like, oh, that was actually kind of witty what he said. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what a comic
like
relief.
sarcasm, kind of trying to be like the new hip kind of young person.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, have you read a lot of Captain America comics besides like the Winter Soldier stuff and the Remender stuff? Have you read like beyond that?
I guess not as much as I think. I have not read much of Sam Cap. Everything I've read with him was an Avengers book.
Okay. Right. Well, at one point, I think Remender was writing Sam Cap like as its own book. And then when Nick Spencer took over, and there's a very controversial, Steve Rogers is a Hydra agent.
Empire, yeah.
They had like 2 Cap books at the same time. They had the Sam one and the Steve one.
Yeah.
And then since then, like Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote a really good Captain America arc. His work on Black Panther was fucking amazing. And then I'm trying to think who took over. There's these 2 writers, Annie Lanning, and no, I'm God damn it. I'm like mixing up people. Like I think Jackson and Lanning, I think are their names though. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Isn't there a guy named Jackson Lansing?
Okay, so whatever, like that dude and his friend write a bunch of comics together, and they've done Cap stuff too that was kind of interesting as well.
Okay.
So I don't know why the fuck I'm telling all this to you. I guess like because I just really love fucking Cap comics. Like Cap is one of my top 10 favorite Marvel guys.
Yeah, I'm a big Cap. I remember having a bunch of Cap comics when I was younger, and I don't really remember. They were just random issues. I always read them all the time, and I couldn't tell you anything that was going on in them overall. But I do remember having them and just reading them because I had them.
Did you ever have the fucking one where he's like a werewolf?
I did not have anything with he was Cap Wolf. No.
Okay.
But this was like 90s stuff, so I do remember the Serpent Society and things like. I remember Diamondback, and I remember oh my god. Like he wears like purple, sort of, but it's not Hawkeye.
Constrictor?
Was it Constrictor? No, he was sort of.
Oh, Constrictor's like black and yellow.
Yeah. No, he wasn't he was sort of like he wasn't a straight out villain, but like an anti-hero.
Oh, the Shroud? Or no? Am I thinking of another guy?
Not the Shroud. Oh, I gotta look this up. But yeah, we can keep going here.
Okay, while you're looking that up, what I was gonna say was, like, I don't remember Sabra from any recent Cap comics, like going all the way back to.
I don't think she was in a Cap comic necessarily. So first of all, that was a whole big controversy too. Is that was Sabra, but they never call her that. They don't reference her as a mutant. They don't they don't say anything about her background. They change it from being Israeli and whatever Israeli like special forces.
Mossad?
Yeah, that, yes. They completely took all that out, and they just said she was trained in the Red Room.
Right. It's actually really awkward because I think it's done like, dubbing. Like, I don't think you even see someone's lips move. And they do say Israel. They're like, she was born in Israel, but she was a Black Widow. They say it like real quick.
Yeah.
So it's like, just forget the Israel part. She was a Black Widow. And then,
it said very matter of the fact, and like it was like very exposition heavy kind of way. Like she's fighting, it's like, oh, she was trained in the Red Room.
Right. Exactly. And it's okay. This is gonna come off bad, but like, I almost felt like she was kind of like a little person. Like she's like really small. Right?
She was very small. I also thought she was a lot older than she actually. The actress is only like 28, 29.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, it was like kind of weird that it seemed like Isaiah was like going on a date with her.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. I mean, they're probably maybe 10 years apart. Like, no, it's more like 30 or 40.
Yeah, at least, right? Because he's post Cap, but so he must be like from the 50s and 60s and shit.
Yeah.
No, I actually kind of like her interactions with him. That was another thing I liked. I did like. There's this one part where like Sidewinder ambushes Sam, and I feel like that might have been added to, where it's like this real violent battle. I actually like that.
The action scenes were good. I also thought Anthony Mackie was fantastic.
Yep.
I think he really proved himself as someone who can lead a movie.
He's super charismatic. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. But yeah, it's just, and I think Harrison Ford probably the best I've seen Harrison Ford in the last decade, honestly.
Did you like him in Blade Runner 2049, or did you not see that?
Okay, he was pretty good in that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought he was really phoning it in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I didn't see Indiana Jones, but I've heard things about that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's this weird scene in this movie where he's like on a fucking Peloton or like an exercise bike,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like on Air Force One, and I'm like, okay, that's a little weird, but
product placement.
Right. But he has like genuine distress, and he's like, there was actually some really great acting from him when they're on the aircraft carrier by the Celestial, and he's kind of freaking out with Japan too.
Yep.
What did you think about the fact that it was Japan? Like, do you think that was like a political thing? Like, do you think that? I'm assuming it was Japan because it's like adamantium and Japan. You know?
Yeah, I feel like, well, okay, this movie comes out at a really weird political time too, and we're it's a time where I don't want to be cheering for America necessarily.
Right, exactly. Right.
So it's always weird. It's a weird line to toe in a Captain America movie. You know, to make them seem like a hero when in real life we kind of started to seem like the bad guys.
Right, exactly. We're the baddies.
And you know, and now it's extra weird because I feel like they changed the origin of adamantium. Adamantium was not. Was it from space? It might have been from space. I don't think it was from a Celestial though necessarily. No. So that whole thing is new, and obviously we associate adamantium with Wolverine and Weapon X in Canada, but we also associate Wolverine with Japan because he goes there and stuff. So I'm kind of wondering if they're just gonna cast an Asian dude as Wolverine now, and it's gonna move all that from Canada to there, which is also just weird because you know our president wants to make Canada the 51st state, so it's like Canada erasure for here.
Yeah,
strange.
Oh man, well, see, like to me, I felt like they're probably doing adamantium in Japan because like there's that connection with Wolverine, and like Silver Samurai. I think his whole suit is adamantium too, and he's in Japan, right? But I was thinking that like in our current world, it would be China that we were really trying to like work with there and stuff. You know, like.
Yeah, I think they stopped. Well, we remember that time in the late aughts and early 2010s where they were warning China into every movie plot just so they can get released in China. I'm pretty sure that China just doesn't allow any of these movies to be released there anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why they stopped doing that. So, yeah, it's a weird time to have a movie about Captain America.
right. And there's just all these different moving parts. There's like stuff that is from the original Incredible Hulk movie where you have to really know about General Ross and his relationship with his daughter. Then there's like a little tiny bit, a very small bit of that sort of like that Black Captain America, and then Sam is the modern Black Captain America, and there's that kind of feeling of racial tension. It's like very muted, but it's there. Then you have like this sort of Manchurian Candidate plot theme where there's like people that are like activated by flashing lights and sounds. It's interesting stuff, but it just feels awkwardly put in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, it really feels like they wrote the movie, filmed it, and then changed a whole bunch of shit.
Right. So then I didn't see the post-credit scenes, or can you tell me what happens in them?
The post-credit scene is shit. What was it?
Isn't there something with Leader where he like references Dr. Doom or something?
Sam goes to talk to the Leader in the raft as well after he talks to General Ross. And he says that, like, he's saying, like, all his probability model says something bigger is coming, basically. And I guess they're alluding to Dr. Doom, but they said they're basically saying, like, all this multiversal shit's going to happen because probability says so.
Okay. Is there only one scene or is there two?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know, man. It's good, but I don't know when I'm going to go back to watch this one again. I don't know exactly what would draw me back to that besides maybe the Isaiah Bradley part. The Hulk fight. What did you think of that at the end?
It was good, but I mean, there's not. I mean, it's a hard sell to even with him having Wakandan technology.
Yeah,
hard sell to have a regular human fight a Hulk.
yeah, right.
And there wasn't much of it really. So
yeah,
it was really more him talking him down than anything else.
Yeah, I saw this movie with my mom, and she hasn't watched every single MCU movie, and I don't know if she got just by watching it without me explaining to her that like he has a vibranium suit and it absorbs the energy, when someone hits you with something,
Yeah.
and that's why when he sticks the wing into Red Hulk at the end, it like blows up like that.
Yeah, he takes that first hit and he's like, "Holy shit!" Like,
right.
Really got charged up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's good. What else do you have to say about this movie, though?
I guess that's it. It's there. I'm honestly very excited about Thunderbolts. Like, that feeling when you see in trailers and it's like, oh, I'd rather be seeing this right now. I had that feeling. Like Thunderbolts actually looks pretty good.
And that's gonna have the Sentry, right?
Yeah.
And the Void. I didn't realize this from watching the trailers. I mean, you've seen all the trailers. Am I going to spoil?
I have, but I'm not going to watch anything else from here on out. Like I don't expressly know what the asterisk means.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
I just don't want to. I want to be surprised by something at some point.
Yeah. Well. So then, did you see any evidence of the Void in the trailer, the most recent trailer?
I think so.
Yeah. Because they show like a person that looks like Henry Cavill's Superman, like standing in the air with his cape flowing. It's like a very evocative of Superman. But then they show like a big shadow going over like Central Park or whatever. And then I didn't realize it, but when that super, it's the Sentry, obviously. But like when he's floating, you see people running. And I didn't realize it until I saw the trailer a couple of times. Like the people just kind of fall into shadows.
Yeah, they get vaporized into something like that. So yeah, that's definitely something to do with the Void.
Right. I don't know. When does that one come out?
It's early May, I think.
Okay. Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the Fantastic Four trailer before.
Yeah.
The movie. Yeah.
Also, much better in the seeing in the theater than it was on a computer screen. To be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which one out of those two would you rather see? Would you rather see Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four?
Purely looking from the trailers alone and not having any attention, not having any like previous thoughts about the characters and anything like that, I would probably say Thunderbolts. If we're taking into consideration how much I like Fantastic Four, I would probably say that.
Okay. Really great answer. I would agree with that answer too. Yeah. Well, unless you have anything else you want to talk about with Captain America, I think we did a very brief review of it there.
I have one thing to say. That character I was trying to think of before was Paladin.
Oh, I remember that dude. He was even in like the Avengers cartoon.
Yeah, he might have been in an episode. Yeah. He's got like a purple and black suit. He uses a gun. I don't think he has.
Oh no! I'm thinking of a totally different fucking guy. There was.
He might have actually been in a Earth's Mightiest Heroes though.
Right. No. I was talking about like the Avengers cartoon that was around during the time of that Iron Man cartoon from like the early '90s. Because they had like it was almost like Avengers West Coast because it had like Spider-Woman and it had this other dude that had like red eyes and like long black hair. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Oh my god. Our episodes are like 20% of us referencing details of characters and not their names.
Yep.
But I know who Paladin is, though. I've totally seen him in comics and shit. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Well, I had fun talking about this. I'm sure I'm going to remember like 15 fucking points I forgot to bring up.
As will I.
Yeah, as will you. Yeah. But guys, if you like listening to me and Brian talk and kind of misremember things, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are currently covering season 3 of Invincible. We're up to episode 5, so you can check those out on our channel. We're going to cover Invincible next week, and of course, more comic book stuff to come. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys.